Kia ora, I'm Whanana Efeso Collins, and welcome to my podcast, Fes and Friends. As you know, I'm running to be Mayor of Auckland, but this podcast is my chance to turn the microphone onto my friends, my family, and those supporting this movement for a just and sustainable city. So sit back and settle in as we do this for the people. Today, I'm really glad to be talking to the man who took on the unenvious job of becoming campaign manager. You've got an absolutely impressive CV. You've come back with a PhD from Oxford. I'm dreaming of some of these achievements here, Max. And you've also worked in the South Australian Department for Premier and Cabinet. So you've got and the law firm Russell McVeigh. You've really got an impressive CV. I'm really impressed. Thank you. And thanks for saying yes to the campaign, because I think you've just lifted the number of degrees that people hold by double. But really good to talk to you. And we're using these podcasts to give people an insight into our campaign and into perhaps why we're involved in the campaign. So I hope that gives you a bit of a lead in. Can you tell us, outside of the impressive campaign, and I also know that you support the Warriors, and I might touch on that later because I'm not sure what that connection might be between the campaign and where the Warriors are at the moment. But outside of the impressive campaign, tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe what led you to being involved in this campaign.
For sure. Kia ora, Efeso. Nice to be on. So I'm a twin. I've got a twin brother who's a house painter in Wellington. I've got a sister, Alexis, who's in London working on housing policy, and grew up mostly in Wellington and came up to Auckland to study. And there's lots that I could say, but you asked me about why I got involved with this campaign, and really it's because of you, Efeso, and there's a few parts of it, I guess. One thing is I worked on a book called The New Zealand Project about values-based politics. And to me, getting to know you over the years, I really felt like you embodied the best of the values-based politics that I was trying to write about. So I wrote about, wanting a politics where people are motivated by values and live values and follow through on those values. And from meeting you, spending time with you, watching what you were saying and doing, I really felt like you honoured that, and so I was drawn to wanting to support you, whatever you wanted to do. I guess another part of it is that I think there's so much in our society that's quite broken at the moment. Yeah. People are lonely, people are in debt, there's rampant inequality, and I really feel like we need a bit of a step change, but from people that can deliver on it. And I guess I felt like you were up for that kind of step change, but also from talking to you that you have the command of facts and figures, you have the policy brain that means you can be bold and credible. Those are quite high level reasons. I think the other thing is just that I was thinking about it as I was sitting outside, and the other thing is just that you, I think, have great emotional intelligence that lots of politicians that I've come across don't have. And I think you relate to people well, you read people well, and what better for reading a city than to have someone that can actually read people and understand how people are feeling in a particular moment and respond in the right way. So I guess a combination of all those things and many more things drew me to being involved with the campaign and wanting to support.
Max, you did some work in England and you were involved in the UK with some political movements, which is great and great for experience. How do you not, given where the world is at politically, how do you walk with people and not become cynical? Because you probably saw a bit of cynicism on the street where people, you've talked about the growing inequality, and people feel a little bit left out. How do you not get cynical, and how do you stay involved in movements so that you can affect change?
I'm kind of keen to ask you that, because I feel like you're always optimistic in that same way. But that was a pretty interesting time in the UK where there was this really bold movement for several years, and it kind of came collapsing down. And I think a lot of people with COVID as well got quite burned out by that. I'd say partly just through being around other people who maintain their energy and hope, including you and people like Justin. I guess we've all lived through like disappointment and difficulty, and I feel really like filled up by being surrounded by those people and trying to keep having those people around. And then I guess just, having ideals and values that we stick to and that we know can be realized and will be realized in our lifetimes, but only through working together.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this idea of working together. How's the campaign going? What's the campaigns, they seem to move every 10 minutes, something's great, something's not so great, something's kind of in flow or got nice rhythm to it. How do you feel the campaign's going and what makes it so important?
Yeah, it's going well, I think. I'm really excited by the people we meet, when we do our events. And sometimes it's like old friends, sometimes it's new people you're meeting and building relationships with. And I think it's a good sign for the campaign that we are drawing those people in, who want to be involved. I think it's busy, it's hardest on you. But I think it's going well. And as you've said, getting across the city, going to parts of Auckland that I've never been to, whether that's like Coatesville or, places that are far out. And then, just being in different spaces. And it's been fun just watching you and seeing you maintain your authenticity while still connecting to lots of different people.
Is there a moment in the campaign to date where you think, man, that was really special? There's lots of things that happen in the campaign, but for you, is there a moment where you thought, I really like that, where you're able to sit back, whether you're on the bus or at home at night, just reflecting on the day? Is there a highlight or something it doesn't have to be a highlight, it could be a low light, but is there something that kind of sticks out and you think, I remember that particular incident and this is why I remember it?
Yeah, I think what you remember most of all are like feelings, rather than like events or achievements. And I think there have been moments of real buzz in the air. So I think about the fundraising dinner that Fia and Offa and Netta from our campaign team drove and where you spoke at recently. I think of this party we had at Soap. I think of the moment when Labour announced that they would endorse you. And I just remember how those moments have felt, and it's sort of all of the best values that we want to honour in the campaign in those moments, like optimism and hope, this feeling that we can change things and we can do things that we maybe weren't anticipating.
Yeah. What is local government? You've probably been involved. I think even I understood central government or how that all works before getting involved myself. But are there things in local government that are going to make people feel like, this is something that ties me to how decisions are made and what affects my life? Is local government important?
Oh, definitely. I think so many of the things that I have done on the weekends in Auckland or through the week are things that have been like built or maintained by local government, like parks, the art gallery, going to something at the town hall. These are like services and spaces that local government has made possible for us, And so I think it's crucial to just our experience of life and the happiness we can have and build on with other people around us. I think a lot of people don't maybe realize how important it is. And I think what's great about this campaign and what you're doing, Efeso, is I feel like you're showing that to people and you're bringing that out for people and getting people more involved.
Fares-free public transport was a pretty bold move. You were pretty involved in the background before we came out with it. Why do you think a policy like that is so pivotal for Auckland?
Well, I was inspired by you, and you've been speaking about this for, years even. But the one reason I think it's so important is it's a universal service, It's a proposal for something to be free across the board for people. And one way I think about it is when our society has provided new universal services like education and health, that's when our society has kind of leveled up. Like we've provided things that mean that people can expect more from life and can do more with their lives because they can go to the hospital and not pay, or they can go to primary school and high school. And I feel like this is a kind of leveling up where if we make public transport fares free through your leadership and what you're doing across the city, we can make people's lives better and raise people's expectations of what they can get from life in the community. So, I'm just so honoured to be part of, your team and trying to share that message that you've taken out.
What's the difference in this campaign? We've talked a lot about building a movement, rather than just running a campaign. I don't know that there's necessarily a difference, but is there a difference? And what's the whole idea and drive behind building a movement?
Yeah, I think one way of thinking about it is comparing a movement and a machine. And I think there's a way of doing politics that's just about cranking up a machine, rolling out business as usual, being quite transactional, just demanding people's votes. And I think that's not what your campaign for the mayoralty is all about. To me, it's so much more than machine politics. And the difference for me about a movement is, like the word suggests, it gets people moving and it gives people a stake, and also builds up the power of individuals and organizations whose voices have been shut down or overlooked for years, like unions, like anti-racist groups, like communities that are delivering key things. And I think that through your leadership, we've started to do that through this campaign, in working with the unions and working through some of the same channels that have been used in COVID, working with social movements. I didn't really answer earlier when you talked about why this campaign is important, but maybe just to really underscore this, I really think, we know it's going to be close. And I really think that a difference of a few percentages could have a massive difference for the future of the city and our country. The difference of a few percentage points is a vision that you lead, that includes people, that allows people to lift their sights, as you've said, that keeps our city and country sustainable. And I think, as you've said all over the city, it's just so important for us to recognise that that difference could mean so much. And that's why your running is so important and so inspiring.
Yeah, you've summed that up really well. I was going to ask one more question. I still will, because when we started talking about movement, started talking about levelling up, I like the idea of levelling up. And then I was, offering a drop mock around you and the Warriors and maybe what kind of movement they might require in order for them to be successful. In order for the movement to be successful, are there ways in which people listening to this podcast can get involved? So it's not just seen as, can you vote for me? What else is there that people can really do to make the movement real?
Yeah, for sure. So come back to the Warriors in a moment, but the movement, we know there's so many ways of getting involved, right? So you can volunteer, efeso.nz, sign up. Then through volunteering, you can phone bank, which is ramping up. You can knock on doors. You can flyer drop if you're feeling a bit cautious. You can contribute to policy, which we're trying to do in a bottom-up way. You can donate on the website on efeso.nz and be part of the project if you're able to chip in. You can show up to our events and support, because that solidarity, that face-to-face solidarity of seeing people be there, knowing how difficult it is at the moment, that matters too. And there's so many events you're doing week to week. So there's all these ways people can get involved. And I think everyone who I've spoken to who has come to events has said, this doesn't just feel like, we're trying to just get the numbers we need to get over the line. This feels like something special, like something different, like the best of the Warriors. There are wins in this campaign that would be firsts, and I think we're laying an example for other groups like the Warriors to model in the future.
It's been a real pleasure talking to you, and it's nice to feel the energy and your own enthusiasm coming through. And I think it's really good that people know who's part of this team. People know who's feeling really driven and enthusiastic, as well as feeling a bit tired, because I know everyone's doing long hours at the moment. So thanks heaps. Thanks for leading the campaign, and thanks for talking to us, because I think it's really important for people listening to the podcast to know, oh, so this is what it's like. They've got a real genuine insight into the campaign. So just a reminder, if you want to be part of the campaign, Efeso for Mayor, you can go to www.efeso.nz and you can join us. You can do all those things, get phone banking, come door knocking with us, drop the flyers at different letterboxes, or even join us at the markets, because the markets are fun because you find lots of things that you can taste test as well, and that's always a lot of fun. Thanks heaps for joining us today, Max. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Efeso.
So thank you for listening in. Remember to like, share, follow, and subscribe, as well as leaving a review on your favourite podcast platform. And lastly, don't forget the mayoral elections are coming up soon, and it's important because they give you a chance to have your say on how this city is run. Voting is done by postal ballot, so look out for your voting papers in your letterbox, and make sure you mail your papers before October the 8th, or just drop them into your local library. Let's do this for the people.